Awesome. So let's begin. My name's David Holmes. I'm a cultural photographer in Chicagoland region, and I have the wonderful opportunity to speak with a great friend who's also just a lover of culture with her voice, with dance, and just art and bringing people together. Danery Barraza. How you doing today?
Yay! Clappy hands right here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So,
I'm I'm good. I'm excited for the opportunity that you give me, and also for saying yes when I have something going on, and I'm like. The photographer that I need is David Holmes, and Aperture is been wonderful. I've seen it grow, and I know that
yes.
it's going to get bigger and bigger. So um, I'm very proud to be working with you, and I esteem you as my friend
Mm-hmm.
and someone that
Same, same, same.
really has a good eye on the details that sometimes get missed trying to tell a story.
Well, thank you, thank you. And so you just recently had this great exhibit, Breakfast with Pop Up. My Spanish is absolutely terrible, so I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Not on live. Maybe in a closet somewhere, but I ain't gonna embarrass nobody, especially myself. But tell us about Breakfast with Pop Up. Tell us about this, how this project came about.
This project came about because for a long time, these beautiful portraits that my father made were in a storage room. And unfortunately, that, you know, if you're hidden, who's going to see it?
Mm-hmm.
It was really sad because when I had the opportunity to finally get all those pictures and all our belongings back to my home, um, then dad suffers 2 strokes. And so that only gave me a boost, which I've always had that. I've always wanted to have a gallery slash dance area or a dance studio or a loft to combine them. But knowing that my father was not the same anymore was an opportunity for me to say that it is now or it will not get done. And in the family, I've always been the glue to try to bring things together, try to make a party and stuff like that. And this was an opportunity to say, this is a man that is an artist, but that people don't know because he kept it to himself. And it was also a way for him to go through a process of his own life in terms of when things really got ruling. This was his way to manage his mental health and his emotional health and try to bring things together.
And I really love that because we were talking about before we were talking about the execution of concepts, talking about migration and everything. Could you speak more about that?
Migration and that painting sold.
Yay!
uh, Migration is actually it's I have the fishes and the fishes are like out of water because that's how people feel. You are out of your comfort zone. You have no idea where you're going to land. And both my parents migrated from Colombia, and I was one of the last child in the process of immigration law to actually say, because I was born here, I can claim them. And once that happened, it could no longer be part of the law. So it's really interesting. It's something that it's definitely for the books, but knowing that my parents migrated here and hearing their stories about the sacrifices and things that they went through, and now 2024, the immense migration that is
Yes.
happening, that we are experiencing, that painting came about from that. Because it's just like, I understand your pain. I was born here, but it doesn't mean that I don't understand to be without a place to call home and try to make a home.
You know, that's a really good saying because, like, even though there's people who were born in a certain place and they still don't feel like it's home,
Yes.
you know, and it's like I'm an immigrant in my own land. And what's really awesome is, well, you said you guys are from Colombia. What part of Colombia are you guys from?
They're from the coast side, La Costa.
Yes.
From Barranquilla, Colombia, just like Shakira and Sofia Vergara.
And I think Shakira's from there too, isn't she?
Yes, she is. And I'm as tall as she is.
Yes, yes. And you know what's really cool? So back in 2019, I had the opportunity to, well, this was really awesome. Some of these paintings that your father did were places I saw with my own eyes during the trip. And what's really cool, guys, is that your father, when did he leave Colombia? Like, when was the last time he was there?
He left Colombia in 1967.
Okay.
The last time he was there must have been like 94.
And those paintings, when were they created?
Those paintings were created from memory between 90, 91, and 92. And he went, forgive me, I said 94, but he didn't travel that. So it was, we had a loss in 1990. So before 1990, he had been there.
So,
It was not from memory.
and
Uh,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Like, all right. So this was really cool about this. I took photographs of some of these places that he created from memory that he didn't see for like years, and it was like spot on. There was what's that in Cartagena? That's like the fort. What's it called?
Yeah. There's the fortress. There's the castle,
Mm-hmm.
Castle Felipe. And yes, the reason why it's such a big deal for me to have shown these is because they are from memory, and he did not have a picture to sketch on the woodwork that he was doing. And that's why he is such an artist. That's why, because of the details that he puts into the pictures that he made, is really remarkable.
And there was this place. It's called it was that ship graveyard by the Caribbean Sea. What's it called in Spanish?
Oh my God.
It's
Oh,
Mouth of Ashes. How do you say it in Spanish?
um, I'm trying. I
Bo
wish I had.
Boca something.
Oh, Boca Grande. So there was Boca Grande, and then there was Boca Chica.
Okay.
And looking through it right here, there's also where he had the Santa Marta.
Yes.
In Santa Marta, that all the ships coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So that area. But oh my God, forgive me. I don't think I have Centro del Muro de Cartagena. Ah.
It was forgive me, Boca de Cezinas, something like that. Am I saying that right? It's like the Mouth of Ashes.
Oh, Boca de Cenizas.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Because that's where like the Magdalena River and the Caribbean Sea, they kind of touch, but they don't mix, right?
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, they're fighting. But what's really cool is like these photos, which like the way I photograph. I like to photograph if like a landscape as is, play with light and color, things like that. But your father created that from memory, and it was like spot on. It was like wow. And you said that your father, he did have two strokes, and when we got to see him, we got to meet him. Found out that he was part of a band, and you did the awesome thing of bringing his instruments, his maracas. Like, how was that experience seeing your father play?
Oh, it it's emotional. It's very emotional because turns out that when people suffer a stroke, um, their memory, their memory, you get all these spaces, and to see him just pick up the guido and start playing is the memory, it strikes. So it's almost it also goes when people are going to through Alzheimer's,
Mm-hmm.
when they start to when they listen to a song that they grew up with, guess what, they can start singing it, or they can start playing to it. And when I saw that, oh, I'm gonna start crying now, but I'm gonna hold back. And you saw that he was playing spot on,
Mm-hmm.
and had been doing it, and he had not heard that song in a really long, and saying a really long time. I'm saying over 2 years. And he was part of two bands, Los Vallenatos, which is valley notes.
Mm-hmm.
It translates to that, and so that's folklore, really folkloric music from Colombia, very distinguished. That now obviously you hear more of it in also in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
but that native Colombian rhythm. And he was part of Los Consules de Colombia, which in the late 60s, 68, 69, were one of the few predominant salsa cumbia bands in the city of Chicago. When the bands had to when the Latin bands had to wait for an R&B band to finish playing because the rock
Mm-hmm.
and roll for them. And so by the time my dad would go on stage, it was like 1 a.m. in the morning. It was really late, but they got to play, and it was really cool. So I got to experience my father as a musician, his musician life and touring, since I was a baby, because
Awesome.
I was born right after a gig.
Awesome. So that's why you're singing and dancing and creating art now.
I'm ready to come out and
I
dance.
love it. I love it. And speaking of dance, we worked together before the pandemic. That was like 5 years ago, where you were at Millennium Park and you were
Yeah.
dancing. And I got to brag on you. I was recording a video, and at the time I didn't know that my microphone was faulty, so I thought my microphone was working right. So we got the video, got her dancing and everything, and then I come home, look at the footage. There's no sounds. I'm like, ooh, Lord! Like my heart was like dropping. So let me tell you how awesome Danery is. We met up, and she's like, don't worry about it. I told her everything that happened. She's like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. We show her the video, and she's looking at it, and there's a few songs playing while she's dancing. She's like turned aside and she's like counting. And like you gotta think, like when you're editing video singing to songs, you're talking in terms of milliseconds. We got it to where it lined up, and I was like, that's just amazing, because singing and dancing and being a musician is about timing, and this whole part of migration is a perfect timing. You and your father migrating together to create something, the mass migrations around the world, and just seeing how when people they migrate from one place to another, they leave things behind, but they also bring something to the new place.
Yes, bringing the culture, but between my father and I, the beauty is that since I was a baby, there was always music playing, which is why I'm so keen on sound.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to my dancing, I try to be as perfect as possible, and I do use the word perfect because it's timing,
Mm-hmm.
and got perfect, and the music that is created by every musician, it's perfect timing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care if you like it, if you don't like it, what the songwriters sing or what they're not saying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's perfect to the T. And my father would sit me down with my siblings, and he would pull out a album And he's just like, I'm going to play this and I need you to tell me what country this is from. Okay.
Wow.
And that's how I learned the difference between Indian and Greek sound, between South African drums to the drums from Haiti. What is the difference between reggae and what is the difference between another sound that they make? So really, my father, he was always immersive in the music, and unfortunately, the grind of working and having to put a family together and put food on the table is what pulled him away from his art. But nonetheless, I cherish now every moment, every lesson that he gave me. Even when I was like, I want to be outside and playing. Why am I listening to this?
You know, it's really cool you said it because I remember reading about James Brown when he would be performing, and you know, he was a master musician, and he would point. And sometimes the reason why he would point is because one of his band members messed up. They messed up timing again, like you know, yeah. So, but yeah, that's really how on point you have to be. And like seeing musicians, what's really cool is when you see a group of musicians kind of perform like an improv, like you know, like especially if they haven't met each other. Like I saw that at a jazz club. Like there were some guys they haven't even met each other, and somebody just started playing the rhythm, and somebody just started like freestyling. It was just beautiful because it was spontaneous, and you can never have that moment again. And it's just really awesome seeing that, and it's been a pleasure like seeing you and your father create together. And we were at a Ponte Art with your friend Janice, right? Yes.
Yeah, and I love her. I think that her coming into Jefferson Park in Chicago is a huge blessing because it's sparking all this other, interest on artists that are in this area of the city. And it's a great collaboration. I give her thanks because when you're not a known artist, galleries will not give you an opportunity per se to expose your artwork. And she was nice enough and so kind to hear my story and be like, Danery, that's okay. You know what? I need you to bring me something current. And then bring your artwork in. And I was able to do that. Otherwise, I would not have had an opportunity because I have wanted to be in a gallery. I have wanted to open my own gallery, but it takes quite an investment. And if you're your own artist, just like I said a minute ago, they're not even looking. They're just like, you're who? You're who? And when? They're not gonna bother.
And you know that makes a lot of sense because yeah, you know, as artists, we should always look out for each other, give each other opportunities. Hey, there's this thing coming up, you should check it out. And definitely want to shout out Janice Aponte. Aponte Art is in Jefferson Park. You can definitely look her up. And what's really just very touching is that a lot of times people, when they're artists, they're young, they want to do their own thing, right? But for you to kind of reach back to your father and he reaches towards you, you guys create something together. Like if there was one message that you would like to tell people about looking back on previous generations, embracing our current generation, and looking forward to next generation, what would you tell them?
Put your ego aside. Be proud of who you are, be proud of what you do, be proud of your creative process, but understand where in your DNA that creative process actually developed and came from. And if you can go back, for example, with me, it's like I try to work with eggshells, which is really great. I like using my hands, feeling the textures and so forth. Well, I got that from my father because I can acknowledge, and that's the thing. It's like your artwork is just as important and just as beautiful, But when you embrace who actually opened the door for you to develop that and bring it to fruition, that only makes you more powerful. And right now, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because I say that a lot of that is being lost with technology and how children are not even looking up at their parents and saying, hi, Dad, hi, Mom. So how are they going to know that their parents have been doing something that a person on TikTok is making a big deal about? When I was performing at 4 years old, I was a little baby shaking my boom boom, and nobody recorded that. Nobody knew I did anything at 4. But then you have a 4-year-old today that goes on TikTok and just did a little twirl and never practiced it or anything, and he's an overnight sensation. Then that little child grows up to be very egocentric, very self-centered, and you have to put in the work. I say you put in the work. Like all the years of dancing that I've done, I put in my time. I took out the time to learn, to become skilled, master being a teacher, and to have a certificate that says I am a dance teacher. I didn't just jump on TV and be like, voila, I'm here, I'm a dancer. And that's what's going on now. And the same thing goes with the painting. The paintings that I present, this one, for example, this one took 2 years to complete. You put in the time, and when you put in the time and you appreciate it, and first and foremost, you do it with love and passion, it shows. But you have to acknowledge your people and say, hey, this is what I do. Not, hey, this is what no. It doesn't work that way.
You could even say like you put in the time, and then the time puts in that strength. It puts in that desire inside you, and so then when you put in time, time puts it in you, and you put in more time, time puts in you, and then it's like the thing you said is great. Like it's less of like here I am, and more of here we are.
Yes. What I wanted to do, bringing my father. First of all, I wanted him to know that his work has not been in vain. I want to experience what it's like to have other people see your work and not just at home, but actually in a gallery. And I think that was a very proud moment for himself, because there are people that are shy, and he was one of them. But when he's on stage, he's a completely different person. So that was that. I did this more so for him than for myself. I know it's like, especially because he's still recovering from a stroke, and people that are recovering from a stroke, what I want others to know is that you have to be very patient with them, but also treat them like they're still very present, and give them the opportunity to play with it that they used to do really well or that they loved, so that they can heal sooner.
And this is a great way to kind of put a bow on it, that when we create art, it heals us. When we create art together, it can heal communities. And this is like transgenerational healing, not just physical, but just emotional and strengthening bonds. So I know you're always creating. If people want to find you, what's the best way they can find you?
They can go to ChicagoLatinDance.wordpress.com, which is my website, and even in YouTube, Chicago Latin Dance LLC. And you can find me on social media as Danery Chicago, because I'm the only Danery in Chicago. Still.
Awesome.
So far, I know I'm still the only one in Chicago named Danery, so oh my God, stalkers, be aware, just go away.
You hear that, stalkers, go away. Well, this has been a beautiful time. I'm glad we got to create again, and keep creating with people, and we're always going to remember that time we all had breakfast with Papa, and it's going to
Yes.
be moments like this where keep your culture moving forward. So thank
It,
you.
it, to make you a plate of arepas.
You know what? When I was in Colombia, I ate them. Like I still got burns on my tongue from the grease. So it's like it was worth it though. It was worth it. But I would love to go back there again and definitely embrace more of the culture. So
Thank you so much. I appreciate your work. I know that your success is huge. There are so many things that you are doing and still probably don't realize how important and how they're impacting the city of Chicago and all the people that you photograph and that you follow and that you're presenting. Believe me, your work is beautiful. It's tremendous.
oh, you know what? I'm gonna cover my face so no one sees me blush or cry. But I thank you. I know it comes from a good place, a deep place, and same here. I love what you're doing. So this was eye opening, and let's for people who've recently know someone has strokes. Let's be patient with them. Let's try to bring those things that really spark their memory, and just love them, especially if they're our elders. They may have had a few setbacks, but their presence is still valuable, even more valuable. So
And it's something about understanding, because their personality. You think that you're losing them because they also become very irritated. Very they can sound mean sometimes, but it is the complete uncomfortable sense of not being able to control your body for your body to function a certain way. So the frustration may come off as they are targeting you, or they're swearing at you, or they're doing something mean to you. But you have to understand that unfortunately that's part of the illness that is being healed. So art heals. Read them poetry, read them something they love, show them pictures, have them listen to music, have them play an instrument, even if they don't play it right. It doesn't matter. The point is to resurface those memories so that their body can physically start getting those sparks and be whole again.
awesome, awesome. Well, you heard her. That's what we got to do, and that's what we will do. So, Danery, the one and only in Chicago, thank you very much, and looking forward to creating again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, my love.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.